Hello and welcome to Koller Commentary with the Korean community. I am so pumped for this relaunch and the many stories and experiences we will get to hear in the days to come. If you're listening to this intro right now, I just want to say thank you so much for your support and for believing in me as I turn this passion project into something greater. As I planned this mini relaunch, I invited my very own husband, Matt Koller, I guess the founder of the title Koller Commentary, to come onto the pod and interview me for a change, as you guys can kind of get into my mind and understand what my vision, what my hope is for this pod to come. So without further ado, Matt.
Hello, everybody. I am honored to be here. I've been kind of just seeing this evolve from the sideline, but I am excited to be a part of it and to support my wife and all that she's doing. And I'm equally excited just for this Koller Commentary to really take off, because I think there's a really cool vision behind it.
Thank you.
So with that, I would like to just kind of start by asking, why the Koller Commentary relaunch? What's your hope with this new vision?
You know, nothing crazy is actually changing, in the sense that if I think about it, I interviewed pretty much people within the Korean community in the past with the things I did want to give stories into alongside Wonhee. But I really believe in having a strong vision in terms of structure and the ways you want to carry things out when you have something you really want to believe in. And so when I first launched the podcast, it was purely for fun, to see what this hobby could look like and just take it day by day. But as I continued doing it, I realized I had a heart to make it into something greater. I ultimately want to create a virtual community where there's a space of belonging, learning, and growing that can be cultivated within the actual Korean community. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, I think so.
So in Korean, have you heard of this term called Jeong?
I have not at all. Please go on.
Okay, so I don't really know how to explain it too well, but it's this term that kind of exudes a feeling or even an action that represents like a deep love or passion or connection in like some sort of attachment or bond to each other. And so I think when I think of Jeong, like I think of just the way that shaped a lot of my Korean identity, which was not necessarily through like explained circumstances, but just unexplained lived experiences.
Is that word like meant to be in the context of like cultural togetherness, or is it kind of used broadly?
What do you mean cultural togetherness?
Like the definition makes sense, but like is like if someone were to use that like casually, would that imply that it's like this like shared like Koreanness, or is
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess it implies a cultural togetherness, if that's what
Gotcha.
you're asking. My therapist actually asked me, like, what are things that form my Korean identity? And I couldn't really explain something, but I thought about when I was younger, my dad or my parents would always coordinate family ski trips with other church families. And we would go drive to Colorado, right? And save airfare by doing 12 hours with other families, which was really fun. But when I think about that trip, I also think about how we would separate into different cars, and one car would be excited to watch Korean dramas, right? And for me, it was like no one had to explain why that was like the exciting part of the trip, but that was something that made it even more personal for me. Or like when you think of retreats or these ski trips, like you think about, oh, we're gonna eat so much ramyeon and we're gonna like get our face puosa or like bloated because like this is like the time we get to eat this kind of food, right? And so I think like those things also remind me of a Jeong, in the sense of like it creates this like connection that's simple but so deep that only like you can understand through what you said, like the cultural togetherness. Like, you know, when we lived in San Antonio, sometimes, because San Antonio is not like as big in the Korean community, and so when we ate at Ilsang, one of our Korean restaurants, right? Like when she found out that I was Korean, or we were both Korean, but when she found out like I could like speak Korean, she would give us the extra banchan without charging us, right? That is like this sense of Jeong, or like the sense of like understanding, like, oh, you and I are connected in a way, and I got you in terms of the banchan, right? It could seem a little like discriminatory, I guess, like to, you know, but like for their well-being, they have to charge, right? Because it's not as, their customers might not be as much in their city, but they have this like Jeong, I guess. I hope I'm explaining that right.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I'm surprised I haven't really heard of this terminology before.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And so I think like for me personally, that is something that ties into like when I start interviewing people that have a Korean identity in some shape or form, it allows me to reconnect to that feeling of Jeong that I think I've missed or I've been lacking for the time that I like left Dallas, I guess. And I felt this like loneliness or this lack. And I think I just realized like, you know what? I can just create that connection because I think when you get to connect with those in a community that you share space with, like there is that deeper form that is created. I said create like 10 times. Yeah. So, well, it's kind of hard to have like a clear explanation of what Jeong is. It's also clear that it's very uniquely Korean without a known definition. And so for me, Jeong also just like means community. And so when I feel lost or not like me, seeing a childhood friend that knows me fully as Eunjee, but also knows when I'm Josephine or knows the kind of upbringing that defines and connects us makes me feel this Jeong or this belonging that I long for. I think in these recent transient seasons where I've been in San Antonio and in Houston and that part of me just kind of like suddenly went missing, I've realized like I've just been longing for that connection and I can create that connection through conversations with different people that I know and love and can reconnect with over the podcast. And so I think in a simple term, it's a selfish reason for this relaunch, which is to get that Jeong and let that manifest. But in a broader sense, it would be that I would hope to allow others who do miss that same feeling to be able to listen in and get theirs back or figure out ways to connect with the loved ones in their lives so that they can also do that. I think in this platform, I want to be able to connect with others. I want to amplify the stories of people in this community because I think there's just so much that we have gone through. And then a lot of times we want to portray images of success or honor. But sometimes we just need a space to share the struggle and the processing and the healing that we need to go through. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. And then ultimately even widen my own narrow perspective of what the Korean identity means.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think as we get older, it's more and more obvious that like it's harder to naturally find ourselves, unless we're like really fortunate, I guess, in our experiences to find ourselves with the same level of I don't know, comfort maybe that we grow up with. So this is actually a pretty cool opportunity to do that. I guess, I don't know. I've seen so much virtual stuff come up over the last couple of years and realizing how connected it can be, which is weird because you're like more distant physically from people. But
yeah, and I think a part of me was like, oh, when we move back to Dallas or if we move back to Dallas, then I'll start it then or whatnot. But I think just in this time of waiting, I realized like we still don't know where we're going to end up in terms of post-residency. So why wait? Why not create that when we can with technology, with the virtual resources that we have today?
So you mentioned about kind of doing this within the Korean community, which I guess, sounds kind of exclusive, even though it has this huge kind of meaning to you. So what does that mean? Like kind of focusing on the Korean community?
I think using the word community was important for me. Recently, we had done an Enneagram series and I had shared I'm an Enneagram 2, but more like specifically, if you look at like the subtypes, which is a whole nother level, right? I'm a social Enneagram 2. And what that means is that, I'm not going to go into it too deep, but in terms of like working, it's like a working in behind the scenes to extend a sense of influence within a group or to help a larger entity move in a certain direction that grows and achieves or, like experiences some sort of breakthrough. And so I think like that really defines a lot of the way I love relationships is I love interacting with people personally, but when it comes to thinking of like a way to bring a community into like new levels, that really excites me. So even when I think about when I was younger, I always wanted to have a birthday party and I didn't want to have separate ones. I always wanted to just have one big one and bring my school Korean friends and my church friends and then my other friends like all together because I like seeing people come together and even meet each other or like have their own friendships after that. And like an immature part of me would probably be like, oh, what? They're closer with each other than they are with me now. But in the two-ness of me, I really liked seeing that community being built. Also, something we had when we were in youth group is something called Fuse, and the pastors would unite all the local youth groups together. So it wasn't just one youth group, all the churches would come together. And I thought it was the coolest thing where, like, as youth leaders, we were able to lead some of these events, and just seeing all these people come together for ultimately the reason of Jesus and glorifying Jesus and doing things to come, like knowing each other because we're connected by him. I was like so grateful to be a part of that. And so I think those are things that really ignite this community building sense in me. And as I continue to grow, I realized that's still like a huge part of me, like wanting to build that community. And so that's another part of where the Korean community and the intentional word kind of places into the tagline of this podcast.
That makes a lot of sense. That's cool that you guys did that. We didn't have anything like it. We didn't have the Jeong like y'all did.
But at the same time, I think I also grew up feeling like Koreans and hearing that like Koreans can be exclusive. Like, you know, we have like screen names that were like KRN Pride, Korean Pride, and stuff like that. I always heard like we're such a small country, and so there's like so much pride in like the ways that we've endured and the ways that we've succeeded and influenced as a country in such big ways that you can just see are growing in our culture today or our society today. But I also think I want to say that like when I say Korean community, I don't want to exclude those that feel like, oh, that must not be me then. I want to be able to listen to stories of people that might be children of immigrants from countries that are not like Korean American. Like I think maybe it's near, like I think Korean American, and I think like Dallas Korean American when I think of that, right? And then that's where my Jeong comes from. But then I want stories to be amplified of people like Korean Brazilian, Korean Australian, or adoptees and their stories and what that looked like for them. Or, you know, in this case where sometimes we've found a disconnect is you and I don't look into our Korean identity the same. And something I did that wasn't very correct of me was assume in my mind that I'm more Korean than you in a sense, right? And I don't think that was correct. And I think even creating some sort of like tension in marriage. And I think like rather than a part of it is like us and our communication with marriage. But I think at the same time, it's an example of people who have different ties to what builds their Korean identity. Mine is built very, like I shared earlier, off of lived experiences, right? And so I've never had to explain what that looks like. But for some other people, it could be tied to one parent, right? And what that means to them or whatnot. And like even for us, as we raise Jaden, he's a mixed kid. And I just like would love to hear the perspectives of other Koreans who I believe are fully Korean, even if they're halfy or whatnot, right? Like, and what that identity looks like for them and how that has built them up, if that makes sense. Like, I would love to interview you and your siblings someday if they would be open, but I don't know if they would be open to it unless you're listening right now. And just like hearing that, because like I have front row seats to people who have like definitely a different perspective than I had growing up.
So do you feel like your Dallas Koreanness is like a unique thing? I think that kind of stood out to me. That, I mean, it sounds like if you were around other Koreans, that still wouldn't be for you that same level of like Dallas Korean.
Probably even that, right? Like there are so many different subgroups of what that looks like. And I think, you know, like what you had asked earlier is like Koreans can tend to be exclusive. And even sometimes I didn't feel Korean enough around my friends because some of them were like fluent in Korean or they knew all the correct terms or whatever. And my Korean is more broken than theirs, right? Or in like the flip side, when I'm around other Korean people who have like a mixed background or whatnot, like, and if they ask me a question about a certain custom or a tradition, I feel not Korean enough when I don't have the right answer because I actually didn't do like research about things. I just lived it. And so then I know it because it's my innate growing upness, but not necessarily something I like researched like I did like Spanish in school.
So are you looking forward to ways to, I don't know, expand even how you view Koreanness through this? Because, you know, you'll be talking to a lot of people that you didn't know growing up and that I guess maybe even their Koreanness means something different to them than yours does to you, even within the same, you know, nationality or term or whatever.
Do you believe you're just as Korean as I am?
I don't know.
Do you ever feel like you want to believe that, or if that's not something you cared about? And people might have different levels of needing that as a part of their identity?
I guess that's multiple questions. The first one, do you think you are? My instinct would probably be to say no. I guess maybe that's more of like the social group / like church group grew up in. Like I feel like mine wasn't comprised of a lot of Korean people. So my instinct to answer that question would be no. But I think I would like it to be as important to me in terms of having had a big influence on my family, including like, right, my mom and her ancestors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess knowing it and like appreciating it and kind of striving to make it important, I want to have like that, I think, just as much. But yeah, I don't think I would consider myself as, right, whatever that means, I guess, like as Korean as others.
Because I definitely don't want people, I don't want to put that need on people, and this could be like projecting, but I do want like Jaden to be able to know that he is a mixed race child, but also like he can feel fully white if he wanted to, but I also want him to feel fully Korean as well. I don't want him to be like, oh, I'm only 75%, right? And I think like, then I wonder, just in general, like when people say I'm a halfie, right? Or like whatnot, like what, like, does that affect them at all? Or I don't know, things like that. I'm just curious on those levels. And so even like asking parents how they parent their mixed children, or asking like different people what their experiences were, I think just broadens and like widens and humbles that Korean perspective, while still remaining true to who you are and what your own identity is built up upon. I guess what I'm saying is like, I think like even spouses that are not Korean but marry into Korean, they're in the Korean community, even if they're not a Korean you know what I'm saying? And so I think that's what this podcast is for, is like, it's not meant to be exclusive, but it's meant to be defined. So when you're coming in, you know what you're getting in terms of like, in some way, there's going to be like that sense of Jeong, or that sense of like, I get what she feels, or, or, oh, I didn't know that was what someone might feel like it. And it's not like I'm going to be like in each podcast, oh, so what is your Korean identity, right? Like that's not like what we're looking into all the time. But, whether it's interviewing someone who I feel like is someone I shared something with in the past and learning more about their story without ever talking about their identity, but a listener knowing like, oh, she's Korean and this is just something I related to. Or it could be a spouse too that's not Korean but is in the community and shares their story, and then someone else in that same, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think centering this around this idea of Jeong is a good one. I think that's like a really good tie between people, even if like a lot of their life story is different. So I guess with that, I mean, what do you feel like we can expect through this podcast?
Well, expect in terms of structure, I want to commit to bi-weekly episodes with stories or experiences from different guests, but also from time to time experiences from ourselves, because I think you and I represent parts of the Korean community that are very different from each other. I also want to be able to build like local community, but dream big in the sense of like maybe someday getting like Laura or Jane Park King or Steph Bay. Do you know any of these people?
Yeah, these are the Instars, right?
These are the mommy influencers I follow. Or even like some companies that like have been built off of their Korean roots, just like the Drinksul or the future anti brand giveaways I have coming ahead, or anti brand. Even if my guests are local or only like an immediate connection to me, I find that to be a win. But I also hope to interview people that are from different races or from different immigrant backgrounds, or have different stories of what that Korean identity looks like for them, come on the pod so I can listen. And I think something that I'm worried about is like feeling uncomfortable being on the host side of all of this, because when the Jeong is there, right? It's really easy for me to flow out sentences and conversation. But when the Jeong is not there, or it's not as easy, right? Like I might feel, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say, or like I might feel uncomfortable. And I think that's something I want to challenge myself in, to practice that and have those, I'm not quoting Emmanuel, but uncomfortable conversations in our space, in our community.
Well, I mean, it sounds like there's a vision behind this for sure. I know kind of things have already begun launching up, and I guess who can we expect on the front end? Do you have kind of a a list of people that we'll be hearing from?
So our lineup for the next couple of months, since we're doing bi-weekly, our debut guest is Grace Yoon, who will be sharing her story and her journey from trying and soon becoming a mother. And then we have Dr. Monica Chung, who will also share her own story on the flip side, being a IVF doctor. She has a lot more, but I forgot right now. And then we have Mina Park, who is one of my onnies who went to UT. She's your year. And she's a CEO of a creative media agency. And so she's going to kind of share what that looks like. And I think that's cool because I think creatives were kind of like a taboo industry for a lot of Asian Americans. We're going to do a little pause in between, and it's our anniversary. So surprise, you and I are going to talk about some reflections because I think a lot of things within our marriage came from cultural disconnect, even though we're tied through Korean identity.
Yeah.
So I think that will be kind of interesting as we reflect over our anniversary.
April 28th.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Well, we're going to do it the week before.
April 21st.
19th.
Stay
And then right before Mother's Day, who I'm really excited about, is Lily Yoon. Oh, now Lily Kim, as she kind of shares her journey from having a child at a young age and kind of navigating that journey and up to now where she's married and really successful and the ways that she's been building up and just like a story of like a lot of redemption and victory. So yeah, that's a little sneak peek of what's to come, and then hopefully continue to build up from there. That's the lineup so far, and then I obviously have to continue emailing and asking. And if you're listening to this right now and you believe you have a really powerful story yourself, then I would love for you to contact me. The website is coming live soon, and there's an inquire button on there where you can just share like what you feel like you want to share about, and then we can put you into the calendar too. And I think something about this is like, I think like obviously people have big dreams as well. So like even if they someday dream that they want to share their story on like Oprah or whatever big platform, like this can be a stepping stone where you can like practice sharing that story and even use it as a way to gain your own confidence or like ground yourself in believing in what you have to offer.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, even as you're talking about the upcoming speakers, like as you say each one, like, oh my gosh, like what a cool story that person has. Like that's going to be crazy to hear. But then I think I realized like you could probably pick anyone to get on, and there's something about what you would share that would be like, dang, like that's really unique and interesting and makes you like worthy to be a podcast speaker. And so I'm realizing I feel like that's kind of everyone, which is probably the cool part of this, is that it's like there's this tie between everyone, this Koreanness, this Chung, but Chung, but at the same
like
time,
a J, not a C.
Jeong. But at the same time, there's also like a uniqueness to each one that I guess makes each person's Koreanness a little different because of what they've been through. So I'm pretty excited to hear all
and these guests
things.
are more like my direct community, and so it could sound more comfortable, but I hope like as we move forward, I would become more uncomfortable, like I said earlier, with conversations in different angles and perspectives. Someone also submitted on, they already, wanted to listen in or contribute ideas of what they would want to hear. And even just like other things that don't have to be as deep, but like someone's traveling to Korea and this person would be the best person to come on the pod and recommend like places to visit in 2023, or like I haven't been to Korea since 2013, and so that would be kind of nice to have those resources here in that sense, or a playlist of the best K-pop stuff today, because I'm still listening to Big Bang or 2PM. Do you know those?
I never heard of 2PM.
Taeyang is in one of them. Big Bang. He like those. That's like long time ago, but that's like the only thing I know. And so I think those would be cool, like just pop culture type things as well.
Yeah. Well, we've heard a lot about the guests to come and a lot of exciting things to look forward to. This is probably our best opportunity to get to know you, the person that will be leading a lot of these conversations. So I think it would be cool to just ask some fun questions to get to know Eunjee.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Okay. A lot of these are just going to kind of be rapid fire fun questions. I'll give you a few more serious ones at the end, okay?
Okay.
We're going to start with this to get to know the old Eunjee. What was your nickname in school growing up and why?
In school?
Nickname as a kid.
Okay. Well, in school, it was like Mojo Jojo or Josie and the Pussycat Dolls, whatever was like,
Was it just because they had your name in it?
yeah. Which I mean, I like Mojo Jojo because he was like that monkey, I think, in Powerpuff. I don't know. So those are school. And then at church, I mean, my name is Josephine, but at church, everyone called me Eunjee. I'm still not sure why. But one of my nicknames, which I guess is kind of like a trolling nickname, is, do you know what it is?
Yeah.
What?
Dust.
Yeah. Someone started calling me Munjee, and then it's Eunjee the Munjee, which like,
I call you that.
yeah, because that was a name. Like, it's not like you just made that up. Like you heard me say. But yeah, I mean, like, it's just like, the more I think about it, it's like they're calling me Dust, but it's just fun, like having those nicknames. And so that was probably my nickname growing up.
On the same theme of kind of old school memories, if you could go back and relive one family memory from the past, what would you choose? Don't think too hard. Just what comes to mind.
All the trips we would drive to Memphis. We went to Memphis twice a year to spend time with my dad's side of the family. And that was my favorite times ever growing up. Yeah. I had like 4 boy cousins and I showered with them or bathed with them. And we played Power Rangers and Land Before Time and sardines. And
I wonder if that's an Asian thing, bathing with your siblings.
I mean, I hope to do that with Jaden someday if we have another.
We used to do that growing up. We loved it. We liked it too much. So my parents only let us do it on like holidays and birthdays.
I mean, once there was a certain age, I remember it became just me and my brother because I think my sister was too old. And then my brother and I had to stop at some point too. It was just fun to do that with each other. And I mean, like, I would want Jaden to do that with his friends too until he's like 3 or 4. If everyone had to do a triple shower or something, together.
Who do you wish you could go back in time and have a conversation with?
Your mom.
Oh, why?
Because she is your most important person in your life. And so maybe that answer would have been different 6 years ago. I don't know, years ago. But since I've met you, that's my answer. I would love to have gotten to have one conversation with her and hear like what her like style of talk is like, or like, the way she talks about certain things. Like that tells a lot about people as well. Or while eating her food one time. I don't know. Like, I think that would be my person.
That's a great answer. You might like Gandhi or something, but
no. Well, you make your mom sound better than Gandhi, so I think I'm at a plus with that.
Okay.
And she has she's your. That's how we share our Korean identity too.
That's true. That's very true. What advice would you go back if you could go back to talk to your 18-year-old self?
18.
Yeah.
Don't let heartbreak win you over. 18.
Win you over?
Like, don't let
take over.
Yeah, like don't let heartbreak dictate who you truly are. If I think about 18, that's definitely.
It's another identity type thing.
Yeah.
Just having your identity in your heartbreak.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of Kim Bum-soo. 보고 싶다. 보고 싶다.
I know that song.
You do?
I don't know.
Do you know what 보고 싶다 means?
Yeah. I definitely do, but I don't want to say it wrong.
It's okay.
It's like
think about heartbreak and someone saying 보고 싶다.
It's like I miss you.
Yeah. Like I miss you, I want to see you. I want to see you because I miss you type of I want to see you.
I thought so.
Good.
Those themes were like if you could go back.
Okay.
Now this will be like thinking forward. What's your dream vacation?
What is or what?
What is?
My dream vacation is going to Korea with you and now Jaden. I've been wanting to go with you to Korea for years and we have not. Thanks a lot, COVID.
How about outside of Korea? Like what do you want to see in the world the most?
In the world? Oh, that Borealis lights, Aurealis, the green lights thing. Sometime. Can we make Korea happen first though?
Yeah. Okay.
Korea is really my number one.
If you could live in a TV series or movie, what would you choose?
I guess Friends.
That's just like normal America. You just live in New York.
Oh, like what it was.
Like you could
you
live
just
in like,
said a TV series or
movie. You could live in like the Avatar world or
I guess
Harry Potter world.
I've had a lot of dreams in the last year of like Harry Potter scenarios in my dreams. So I think that would be oh yeah, remember one time I woke up and I said I had a really good episode of Harry Potter.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, a couple more. What's the biggest thing that you could brag about yourself that very few people already know? So not not something that's well known, but something that like you could really brag about yourself.
I can't brag about myself.
That's the point of the question. So brag about yourself about something that most people don't know.
I make up good tunes to children's books to Jaden.
Can you give us a sample?
No. Peekaboo, Jaden, who could it be? It is Harmony looking at me.
No one's gonna know this book.
Now clap your hands. Wait, something there is Haraboji smiling at me.
She's wrapping a customized book that I made
smooch,
for...
Jaden, who is this? It is Emo, give a kiss. Now Jaden's... Oh, lean back. Now back down. I am Sam Jones Buttercup.
Back up.
I don't know. I'm doing it from memory.
Okay.
Bounce.
That
bounce
is a talent.
on my knee. Becky Emo likes. Okay.
Okay. And then last couple questions. These are more serious ones, I guess. What change would you most like to see in yourself moving forward these next 2 years? We'll say.
I think something I have cultivated habit-wise is a very big flight to fight, or is that the right term?
What are you trying
I
to
would like to be better at my initial emotional response to stressful situations. I think I get into very flight mode or fight mode when I guess I don't think I should be like calm mode. I don't think calm is the answer, but I think just like don't get all up in my head. And that is something that happened as I lost more of who I was in my Koreanness. Not my Koreanness, but would you say that one for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, also, I guess like I would like to gain some muscle back. That's a physical one.
That's important
I'm
too.
very weak now.
That's important too. Last question right now. What are 5 words that would best define yourself currently? And then what are 5 words that you would like to define yourself with?
This is like on the top of my head.
Yeah.
5 words that describe me right now.
And then 5 words that you would like to be like, I want these 5 words to describe me.
Okay. What if I only have good words right now?
Huh?
I am charismatic. I am insecure. I am relational. I am perseverant. Is that a persistent? Perseverant?
Persistent? Or I persevere. We'll just say that.
And I am caring.
Okay.
What do I want to be?
What are like the 5 biggest words you would want to define yourself as?
I want...
They can overlap.
Yeah. I want maturity, I guess emotional to be specific, consistent, faithful, like to God, like faithful. And that would mean like faith in him, right? So like in circumstances, faithful, fast.
Like physically?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in the future, I physically fast. Yeah. I feel like I'm
That's fine.
weak sauce. Embarrassing. And how do I say like proud of myself? Is that not one word though? Like
proud.
But not prideful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
proud in
like
a good way.
I'm too hard on myself. So like proud of myself.
Yeah. Interesting. There's no overlap.
But to be fair, this is very like sudden. So if I sat down for even 10 minutes, these answers would all be
I think the 5 you said,
different.
I agree that all those 5 I think are things that you strive for or that would be important to you. I think those were good answers.
Oh,
okay.
I want to like boundaries.
Bonus
I
word.
guess bonus, yeah, boundaries.
That's good. We can keep tabs on these and even through the podcasting, draw some of these out maybe. All right. Well, that's all I got. I think through this, we now know our host, Eunjee, a little bit better than we did earlier. Yeah. So
thanks for taking me through this intro episode as a guest. Well,
I am honored to be a host once. I am also eager to turn it back over. I think she's much better at hosting than I am. So I'm excited to hear what's to come. I think she really does have a lot of really great guests coming on. So definitely stay tuned.
And if you want more and you just can't wait, make sure you stay tuned and mark your calendars for Tuesday, March 8th, because like I showed in the sneak peek, Grace Yoon will be joining us, and I promise you she has a story you wouldn't want to miss. if you want to go onto my Instagram at Koller Commentary, spelled with a Koller, at Koller Commentary, there will be a link where you can sign up for the email list. Our website is coming up soon. So all these ways you can get involved and stay hyped. I just love and appreciate all the support and hope I can make you guys proud. Tune in Tuesday for Koller Commentary with the Korean community.